phone. No. The idea here is that even an attack dog, trained properly, can sell. Look, the thing about dogs is this. Once they get the scent, they never forget it. Once they get the scent and the thrill of the chase, they will chase over and over and over again. Dogs are very, very persistent. That's the reason I picked dogs. As a matter of fact, a famous actor once by the name of Lenny Bruce, once said, he said, men are like dogs, women are like cats. He says, you know, you can, if you beat a cat or you hit a cat or scold a cat, the cat runs away. But guys are like dogs. You beat them, they keep cowering back for more. They keep coming back for more. Now, I'm not going to get into the gender side of things here. But in fact, sales is the same way. Dogs are persistent. The other thing is, as I was starting to say before, the issue about objections and rejections, you ever see a dog catch a cat? No. I mean, dogs never catch cats. They chase cats forever. They've been chasing cats for 5,000 years. I don't think one dog has ever caught a cat. However, do they lay on the floor, put their paws over their head and start howling? Failed again? Of course not. They don't take it personally. Their tongue comes out and they're back at it again. What I'm saying is, as you look at your dog sitting in the corner of your kitchen or the corner of your living room or wherever they're sitting, take some very powerful lessons from them. I created an objection-rejection system. It's basically a system that says this. As a matter of fact, hopefully you can be able to read this. Is if all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and says this, I have no time to see you. Right now, I give you exactly 5 seconds to answer it. Go. Okay? Some of you couldn't say a word. Some of you probably said something stupid. Others of you probably came up with something good. The difference is, it's not what the question is, it's how you emotionally respond to it. So what we did is we created a system that not only has the objection on it, but it's got the answers on the back. How do you handle it? What are the questions that you ask? So that you drill them over and over again. Now, some of you are pretty familiar with a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. Now, Robert went to work for Xerox. I worked for Burroughs at the same time when we lived in Hawaii. One of the things that we did, we also both learned to teach a course called Money and You that many of you have participated in or are familiar with. One of the best forms of sales training we did, and where this idea came from, is we used to lock ourselves in a room with other friends. And we had take turns going to the front of the room and handling objections. You can imagine that after several hours with people you know very well, some of the questions got extremely ugly. And I won't repeat any of those in these company. But by doing them over and over and over and over and over again, what happens mentally and psychologically is you begin to desensitize, the emotion begins to drop away from it. In other words, the flashcard system that we've created here is specifically designed that within a very short period of time, when you see these, by the way, we picked the 40 toughest objections that most of you will ever face. Once you drill them enough times, what happens is the emotion drains away, you're able to think clearly and then ask the proper questions to stay in the hunt. The problem is most people completely freak out at the moment that they're derailed. That's why we created the system. Probably one of the most important parts of sales training, most important parts of your life that you can learn from it. What are some of the other things? The other thing about sales dogs, if you understand the mentality of dogs and you want to train those of you that have networks, those of you that have sales agents working for you, the key is how do you manage this group? So, once you bring in new pups into an organization or into your household, what do you have to do? You have to puppy train them. You have to take them to obedience school. You got to create some rules. Like, first of all, they're not allowed to tear up the furniture. They're not allowed to pee or poop in the house. What does that mean? That means that if you make a mistake, that you're personally responsible for it. It's kind of a code of honor for sales dogs, so to speak. So what we've done is we created a full formula as to how to set up the team, A, to be able to be voracious sales dogs. B, how to get them to play to their strength. So that if they are the Chihuahua, if they are the product expert, how do they use that to their advantage, and what types of clients do they go to in order to generate lots of sales? The problem is most sales managers try to mold the sales dog to their type, whoever they are. Why do they do that? Because that's what they know. The problem, that's why most sales forces, most salespeople on most sales teams fail. It's why only a few salespeople end up selling most of the sales. That's why there's such high employee turnover in sales. One of the reasons I was motivated to do this, to do this book and to take this route, is that there are actually people out there in sales training that will tell you that what you do is once a year you take the bottom half of your sales force and just fire them. Now, not only is that a gigantic waste of money and time, but it's a huge toll on the human spirit. The truth of it is, some dogs can hunt and some or sell, and some dogs cannot. The only ones that cannot are those that are unwilling to learn. You've all heard, can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, that's not true. Old dogs can learn what they were inbred and inherently already know. Like I said, if you like to win, you can sell. If you like to talk, you can sell. As a matter of fact, as we go through the 5 critical skills to becoming a great sales dog, presentation is one of them. You've got to be able to present to people. You've got to be able to talk. You've got to be able to articulate. Take all the myth out of that. Look, those of you that know me know that we've trained hundreds of thousands of people in how to do this. What happens if one does not know what kind of dog he is? Oh, good question. If he doesn't know what kind of dog he is, then what you do is you email Richard here on the website, or you email me at our new website, which will be up next week, which is called salesdogs.com. Salesdogs with an S. There's a pirate out there that's singular, but salesdogs with an S.com. And what we created is we created the Sales Dog Diagnostic. And what the Sales Dog Diagnostic is basically a set of questions, very simple questions, that once you answer them, you find out what kind of sales dog you are. No manager should ever even attempt to start training until you understand the type of people you have. For example, what do you feel is the best way to generate the greatest number of prospects? Phone, fax, or blitz? Conducting a seminar? Attending other events and introducing yourself? Asking for referrals? Building a reputation for servicing customers? Or staying on the corner holding a sign dressed like a clown? Now, obviously, there's no incorrect answer, but the way you answer these questions probably take you all of about 8-9 minutes to do. Once you answer these questions, you'll find out where your bias is, where your strength is. Any one of those answers will work to generate prospects. Which one works for you? And as you gear yourself toward that direction. Now, that's one. The other thing we found out is that there was some study done, a study done about 10 years ago, little known study, about whether you even have the aptitude to sell before you even go out and make your first sale. It's a tremendous amount of research that went into this. A team of psychologists from overseas put this together. We've exclusively licensed this diagnostic. It is not available anywhere. And basically what it is, it's the attitude and aptitude questionnaire. In other words, by completing this particular diagnostic, can make a difference in a minimum of a 35% increase in your sales. Average 50%, as high as 85%, by understanding the right mindset and the right attitude. We can not only test for it, we can give you the process to change your mindset if you don't test well against it. Okay, the next question I got here. You think you're a poodle, but actually something else. What happened? Oh, you think you're a poodle, but you're really not? Oh, because you're probably a legend in your own mind. That's obvious. You think you're a poodle because you want to look good. The problem is most of your friends know that you would rip any raw meat to shreds on any given signal. Some of you, it doesn't matter what dog you think you are. It's what dog you are. Just take pride in it. There's no shame in being a pit bull or a poodle. As a matter of fact, there's probably very few pure breeds, as I found. Most of them are crosses. For example, my father, the eternal salesperson. My dad is 71 years old. He is a pit bull actually in basset hound clothing. Why? Because he has that soft, rapport building capability. He wants to look you in the eye, build personal rapport. He prides himself on integrity. By the way, Basset Hounds can't stand when people betray them. They think that everybody should be as loyal as them. So that may strike a chord for some of you. So he's a cross. He's a Basset Hound, but he's also tenacious. He will pester a person until they're blue in the face. What about sales dogs that drop their drop their products on the footpath? Is that what you said? Yeah. What about sales dogs that drop their products on the footpath? Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm just going to interpret what it means. A sales dog that drops their product for something else or jumps to another company, that's what we call a stray. Okay, now, dogs, you know what happens to dogs if they go stray. They run around, they jump from company to company, product to product, place to place, and sooner or later they get caught, they throw them into the pound, you know, and they cut off your you-know-whats. They're neutered. So what happens is, with the very essence of the spirit for the hunt or the kill gets knocked out of them. That's why I say you got to focus. And we have a whole career counseling piece in here, is how to pick the company, how to stay focused on it, and actually how to migrate across what we call the sales dog cycle. So that you can actually, starting in retail sales, ultimately to the fifth dimension of sales dog sales, you can increase your income by at least 20-fold. The point is, don't drop your product in the footpath. Stay focused. Get the training you need. If you're not getting, the only reason to switch would be if you're not getting the training that you need in order to learn what you need to learn. That's what's important. Any other questions? Do we have another question? No? Okay. So, in wrapping this thing up, because I see I'm just about, what's that? Who wanted to say hello? I want to say hello. Oh, yeah. Okay, hello. This is obviously very awkward for me. I'm used to doing it with a live audience, not looking into this little lens here. But there's some friends of mine out there. I'm sure there's some friends of mine in Perth. You guys have been the inspiration for all of this from the very, very beginning. That is for anybody who's never been to Perth, that is the biggest pack of pit bulls I've ever met in my entire life. They all think they're poodles. They think they're all the other things. Don't let them fool you. You turn your back, they've got you by the seat of the pants, and they'll never let you go. So thank you to all those guys there. Okay? Say hello to everyone. I want to be sure that this is live. Yeah, this is live. Is there somebody, hopefully there's somebody in San Diego. I don't know what time it is in San Diego, but where I learned all of this was in San Diego. As a matter of fact, my great mentor in the process, a fellow by the name of Marshall Thurber, who started Money in You, was probably the epitome of all sales dogs. He basically had it all. He was the sales dog. He had the sophistication. He had the intellect of the Chihuahua. He had the tenaciousness of the pit bull. And in fact, for all my friends in San Diego, I hope the surf is up. I hope it's nice. I'd like to get back to the States as soon as I possibly can. Hopefully there's people here from all over Asia. I want to say this. I mean, I'm throwing in the sales dog piece. The significance, however, today is not about what I have to say. The significance about what today is about is the fact that you are doing something that has never been done anywhere. Training has never been done this way. Hopefully you learned something in this process. But training has never been done this way. And if you understand that paradigm shift, we all here are part of history. The thing I want to do is I want to thank Richard Tan for putting this all together. He's going to come on here in a second and say something to you. I want to thank all of you for being willing to listen. The last thing I want to say is just the last thing out of this book when it comes to sales dogs. I'm just going to, if I got about 10 seconds here, let me just say this. At some point, you're going to determine what kind of sales dog you are. At some point, you're going to understand also that any transaction is a sales transaction. You've heard that before. But the thing is this, remember that every dog has their day. Sooner or later, day will come and success will prevail, no matter how much adversity you deal with. What you do with that experience may be as important as any other experience that you as a sales dog have. Be sure to leverage it and build on it. As humans, we remember mostly things we see. When we recognize a smile, it's a sign of approval. When we see a familiar face, we remember a friend. But dogs remember what they smell. Once the scent of a deal becomes familiar in their senses, they will be able to track down their quarry no matter what it looks like. The scent of the hunt is the same. Teach your sales dog to trust their senses, trust your senses, and pursue the scent that will lead you to wealth. Last word of advice. Because it is said that a dog is a man's best friend, the one rule that all sales dogs know, that when the going gets tough, when adversity is facing you, remember to be your own best friend. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for putting up with me. Thank you for having me here on this initial broadcast. The future is different. Good luck, good selling, and tell the truth about what kind of sales dog you are. And if you have any questions, ask your significant other. Thank you. Good luck. God bless you all.